Hi guys, join me, let's make this cake order. Today we're using vanilla cake. I'm starting by adding a layer of dulce de leche buttercream. Just take the offset spatula and just smooth it to ensure it's evenly distributed. Then now I'm just piping a dam of the buttercream around the circumference of the cake. This ensures that the filling stays put inside and doesn't seep through the sides once I add the next layer of cake on top. Now I'm piping my homemade dulce de leche inside of it. This was made using condensed milk. I boiled it on the stove using the stovetop method for 4 hours. It was worth the 4 hours. It came out really delicious. Again, I'm just smoothing to ensure that the filling is distributed evenly everywhere and there is no air pockets. And I'm adding on the second layer, and I'll pretty much be repeating the same process. The view is a little bad because I'm piping from the direction that my camera was. A layer of the buttercream, smooth it out, ensuring it's pretty evenly distributed. A nice dam for the filling. I repeated the same process and then I added the third layer of the cake. Now here I'm adding my white chocolate ganache. I'm using this to just crumb coat the entire cake. I like like using the chocolate ganache method over buttercream for crumb coating when I'm gonna finish the cake using fondant. I find that it sets up harder and it makes for easier surface to work and add the fondant. It helps if your chocolate ganache is pretty thin at this point because we're working with a cold cake. So the ganache sets up really quick. It starts to become solid. Now I'm gonna use the offset spatula to just add ganache all around the cake. This is quite a slow process, just to ensure even coverage again. Once again, I am filming from the other direction, so you're not able to see exactly how I'm applying it. But you pretty much move all along the sides of the cake until the entire sides are fully covered. Okay, this is a better shot of what I'm doing. Just using the chocolate ganache to seal the entire cake. Locks in the moisture, adds flavor, and gives a really nice firm surface to work on when it comes to doing the final decorations of the cake. While applying the chocolate ganache, you want to be very gentle also because the chocolate sets up, and when you're moving your spatula along the sides, if it becomes too hard, then it tends to pull the cake and it could cause the cake to crumble or crumbs to be mixed into the sides. Now that the cake is entire covered with the ganache, I'm using my bench scraper. This I dip into a hot pot of water, which I keep onto the stovetop next to me, so it helps to smooth the cold hardened ganache onto the cake, and it makes the surface nice and smooth. This takes a little bit to achieve. You just keep dipping the scraper into the water and just keep smoothing it. Eventually you'll get a nice smooth cake. And it helps also if you wipe your bench scraper in between of each smooth. This ensures that the the ganache that you're removing from the cake is not in the way of smoothing the cake. Then now I'm going back in. If there's any uneven spots that needs filling in, I'm using the chocolate ganache again, which I reheated to ensure that it's nice and pliable. Just go around, fill in all the gaps that's missing. And now I'm just removing the excess ganache from on top. This gives for a nice even edge. I'm also using the bent scraper on top to ensure any excess chocolate ganache is scraped off, giving a nice flat cake top. There you have it, fully ganache cake. Now it's time for the fondant. I dust it with cornstarch, ensuring there is no air bubble. And then I gently picked it up and you layer it over the cake. First you want to ensure that the top is fully attached to the cake. This ensures that the sides and the corners does not start ripping, because the weight of the excess fondant is hanging around and it could eventually cause the corners to start tearing on the fondant. So you want to gently press this onto the cake, and then you just slowly, gently open up the folds on the fondant, and just eventually it's just gonna fall into place. You just work with it, ensuring you get nice coverage all around the cake. And as you're working with it, the fondant will keep stretching and pulling down, so you'll have enough to eventually cover every part of the cake. To make things easier, it's always best to cut off the excess fondant. This removes the excess weight hanging and it gives you a better surface area to work with. I'm using my trusty pizza cutter. It cuts away the excess fondant perfectly. Then you can just pack the excess fondant away. Then you just go around the entire cake, just ensuring you can use your fondant smoother, ensuring the fondant is fully adhered to the cake and there is no air bubbles anywhere. And just keep going at this process until you feel that the fondant is fully secured. Now it's time to add decorations. I went ahead and I covered the cake board as well. I dyed the fondant brown. The theme that I'm going for here is more like a wildlife. So I'm just adding some grass. I'm using the edible glue to attach the pieces onto the side of the fondant. You could also use water. And here I made some little rocks to go around the cake. Just attaching them with a little bit of glue, or edible glue or water. Either one works. Water is more forgiving. Once you use the glue, you're not able to remove or replace or move anything around. I have another video where it shows how I put together the cake topper. In this case, we're using a crocodile, which I made using gum paste. It was quite adventurous to create that crocodile. It was so much fun. I also made a man sitting on top of the crocodile, but I didn't film that. I totally didn't realize. I was so focused on putting the guy together that I totally forgot filming the entire thing. I must say it was easier to make actually the crocodile. The guy was quite challenging. There you go. I added the cake topper just to ensure that it doesn't sink. It wasn't that heavy, but just to ensure it doesn't sink any part of the cake, I also added some of the boba straws underneath so that the weight can sit on top of there. I added a banner, which is also made of fondant, and then used letter stamps for the names and painted it in. This cake was inspired by Steve Irwin, by the way. From the angle that I was filming, it shows everything in reverse, which is the names and everything is the opposite way. Painting on the name for me was a slow process because I wanted to ensure that I wasn't going to get any of the black paint onto anything else, because it's so hard to clean that up if it happens. And there you have it, fully finished decorated cake. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me and have a blessed day.